Peter Griffin is no stranger to chaos. From getting run over by bulls to literally blowing up his own house. This guy's been through some stuff. But how bad does it really get? Here are the worst things that have ever happened to Peter Griffin, and trust me, some of these are downright brutal. Starting off with when Peter discovers his IQ is lower than the family dog's expectations. The Griffins decide to host game night because nothing brings neighbours together like awkward small talk and passive-aggressive competition.
Okay, Joe, right foot green.
All right, let's do it! Yes!
They're playing Trivial Pursuit and Lois rigs the game so Peter gets questions from the preschool edition. You know, stuff like, what colour is an orange? Naturally, Peter dominates and starts bragging like he's Einstein with a beer gut.
Is it what?
That's right! You win, Peter! You did it!
Everyone's annoyed, especially Brian, who challenges Peter to take the MacArthur Fellows test, just to prove once and for all that he's not the genius he thinks he is. Peter takes the test, and the results are brutal. Not only is he not a genius, the paperwork literally classifies him as mentally retarded.
Hello?
Peter, mental retardation usually happens before you're born. It isn't something you can catch.
And just like that, Peter spirals into a full-on depression, complete with a dramatic drive home. He even hits Tom Tucker with his car, but instead of pressing charges, Tom just shrugs it off because, hey, Peter's the retarded guy now, and apparently that gives him a free pass.
Oh, well, then don't worry about it.
Wait a minute, you mean you're not even gonna call the cops? Oh my god! I could get away with anything!
Of course, Peter being Peter, he sees this as an opportunity. He starts testing how far he can push it, screaming testicles over a fast food intercom, Bible bombing a church service, kicking open girls' bathroom stalls like he's in a western shootout. Then he stumbles into a fast food kitchen, sees a fryer later, and decides he needs it. But in typical Griffin fashion, he accidentally splashes Lois with scalding grease.
Uh-oh. Oh god, what have I done? I'm the worst husband ever!
Peter loses custody of Meg, Chris, and Stewie, and the kids are handed over to Cleveland. Brian tries to help Peter see that if he just proves he's a decent dad, he can get his kids back. But Peter's idea of proving himself is trashing Cleveland. Literally.
Wait a second, Brian, you're right! And the best way to do that is to show what a terrible father Cleveland is.
He crashes into Cleveland's house with 7 prostitutes like it's a bachelor party from hell. Agent Jessup sees through it instantly. Cleveland kicks Peter and most of the prostitutes out, and the plan flops harder than Meg's self-esteem. Desperate, Peter makes a last-ditch plea in court to get custody back. The judge says no, but Peter avoids jail time thanks to the judge's total mental blank on the fact that prisons are a thing.
Absolutely not. Case closed.
Oh, crap. Oh, it was prison you were thinking of. Prison.
Oh, I already banged the hammer.
Back home, and resigned to living alone forever, Peter's about to start sulking when Lois walks in, fully healed, kids in tow, and casually announces that she got everything fixed. Peter's thrilled, not just because the family's reunited, but because Lois is going to smell like French fries for the next 6 months. And honestly, that's a real win. And speaking of Peter's questionable parenting, his golf babysitting skills lead to some serious burns. While babysitting Stewie, Peter decides that nothing screams responsible parenting like dragging a baby around an all-day golf game.
That was close.
Ugh, will you please hurry up? It's 100 degrees out here.
Stewie ends up with a full-body tan, and instead of being horrified like a normal infant, he absolutely loves it.
Oh my god, look at Stewie! Peter, you took him out without any sunscreen?
Wow, look at me. I'm a young Eartha Kitt.
Suddenly, he's got a tanning bed in his room and throws an exclusive party, strictly for the beautifully bronzed. He even has Brian act as his tanning assistant, telling him to wake him up after 15 minutes.
Stewie, what are you doing? Just getting my bronze on, baby. Hey, wake me up in 15, will you, babe? Fine.
But this is Brian, so of course he falls asleep and forgets, for 6.5 hours. When Brian finally wakes up, Stewie looks like a microwave tomato. He's so sunburned he can barely move, and just when things couldn't get worse, he starts peeling. That's when Brian notices a suspicious mole on Stewie's stomach. Instantly convinced he has skin cancer, Stewie launches into full-blown drama mode. Naturally, Brian gets dragged along for the ride because, according to Stewie, the cancer is 100% his fault.
What the devil? Where did that come from? Brian, what is that? I don't know.
We won't know for sure whether it's cancerous until the tests come back in a few days.
A few days?
As part of his I'm Dying tour, Stewie makes Brian help him complete a bucket list that includes visiting the Chicago Museum of Art, and recording his final thoughts. But in true Brian fashion, instead of a heartfelt message, he draws a cartoon of himself hanging from a noose. When Dr. Hartman finally calls the results saying Stewie doesn't have cancer, Stewie quits tanning cold turkey. But after seeing Brian's drawing, he stares at him in disbelief and says, "Oh, you are just the worst type of person." He's not wrong.
You don't have cancer, you're gonna be fine.
Really? Oh, thank God! Oh, thank God!
Meanwhile, over in a slightly more disturbing subplot, Chris finds out his best and creepiest customer, Herbert, has ditched him for Kyle, a neighborhood bully. Chris tries to confront Kyle, but it goes about as well as you'd expect. He gets shoved, humiliated, and slinks back home while Peter and Lois wonder what the hell happened.
Oh, yeah?
Look, Griffin got his ass kicked!
What a loser!
Peter, being the supportive dad he is, confronts Kyle and gets mocked mercilessly. Fed up, Peter beats the ever-living crap out the kid in the middle of his driveway. Lois freaks out and insists they go and apologize. Kyle's mom, Claire, says she won't press charges if Peter apologizes, which he does, sort of. Kyle instantly forgives him, but then inspires Peter to embrace bullying. And oh boy, Peter runs with it.
Thank you, Peter. Now what do you say, Kyle?
Apology accepted.
Good.
He throws boiling water on Lois, makes her punch herself in the face, slaps Stewie's raw sunburn, knocks Chris out of his chair, and proceeds to fart in Meg's face while she runs in circles around the kitchen table like she's trapped in a gas-filled nightmare. She eventually pukes, which Peter somehow finds offensive. But Peter doesn't stop there. He bullies his friends too, using Joe as a human marionette and Pansy and Cleveland for fun. Lois finally calls him out, reminding him he's become just like his old school bully, Randy Fulcher. Peter, now inspired to bully his bully, tracks Randy down only to discover Randy has multiple sclerosis. But since Peter thinks I have MS stands for monkey scrotum, he's about to throw hands until Chris steps in and knocks some sense into him, literally. The episode wraps with a wrong-sounding Kermit the Frog, a wrong-sounding Swedish Chef, and a wrong-sounding Fozzie Bear, voiced by Michael Clark Duncan, because, of course, watching the chaos. Fozzie then asks if they want to hear a joke, because if there's one thing this show doesn't need, it's more absurdity.
That's nice. That's a warm family moment.
I agree. We can all learn something from that.
Who wants to hear a funny-ass joke?
Moving on to another episode with Peter's drunken circus act that literally kills his relationship with his father. Meg turns 17 and makes the wild request every forgotten teenage daughter dreams of, a real birthday party with loud music and maybe even people her own age.
I decided I want a big party this year with all my friends, and maybe a band. Is that cool?
Yeah, sure.
But her parents, ever in tune with reality, throw her a toddler-style nightmare instead. There's pin the tail on the donkey, a suspicious lack of actual teenagers, and just to rub salt in the wound, Peter and Lois light 16 candles because they forgot her age. Classic.
Oh, you stupid son of a... You don't even know how old I am!
To top off the embarrassment, Peter arrives as Pee-Pants the inebriated hobo clown and gives Meg a dozen scarves, which he helpfully swallowed and now vomits out in one long, disgusting rainbow. Meanwhile, back in Meg's never-ending birthday disaster, Stewie goes full mine phase and starts opening all her presents like it's his birthday party.
Stewie, what are you doing? You can't open Meg's gifts.
Hey! These are mine! You hear me? Mine!
When Lois tries to stop him, he breaks her necklace, so she spanks him. But instead of trauma, Stewie discovers he likes it. Yep, the baby is now a little pain freak. He spends the rest of the episode trying to get Lois to spank him again, even begging her to shove a wine bottle somewhere very inappropriate.
Violate me with a wine bottle! My God, I really do have problems, don't I?
Then comes his long johns. Then comes pain. Peter collapses in agony after the circus act, but it doesn't stop him from getting plastered and trying to ride a unicycle down the stairs.
Grandpa! Oh my God!
Unfortunately, the stunt ends with Peter crashing into his dad, Francis, who ends up in hospital and dies. But not before calling Peter a fat, stinking drunk one last time, just in case the trauma wasn't already complete.
You're a fat, stinking drunk.
Peter, devastated that his dad's final words were more roast than farewell, swears off booze. That lasts for about 3 seconds before he tries crack instead.
All I wanted was for my dad to tell me he loved me, but instead he called me a fat, stinking drunk. Those were his last words.
When that fails too, Peter sees a hypnotherapist, played by Bruce, of course, who uncovers a juicy secret. Francis wasn't even Peter's real dad. After confronting his mom Thelma, Peter learns that his biological father is an Irishman named Mickey McFinnigan, who lives in a tiny pub-drenched village in Ireland. Naturally, Peter and Brian book it across the Atlantic.
Peter, Mickey is your real father.
Oh my God! I gotta find him!
Turns out Mickey is the town drunk, which, surprise, is actually a position of prestige in the particular Irish hamlet. But Mickey wants nothing to do with Peter, mocking the idea that some random fat guy from America is his son.
Excuse me, sir? My name is Peter.
Pleased to meet you, lad. Name's Mickey.
Listen, you're my father.
Who am I now?
Yeah, I came all the way from America to find you.
So Peter does what any emotionally stunted cartoon man-child would do. He challenges him to a drinking contest. After proving his liver is both durable and desperate, Peter wins and Mickey proudly declares him his son, because apparently nothing screams family like shared alcoholism.
You hear that, Brian? I'm a McFinnigan now. I can forget all about Francis.
Peter's over the moon to finally bond with his real dad, but Brian gently reminds him that Francis, as much of a crusty jerk as he was, still raised him. Maybe not well, but with some kind of effort. Peter accepts that, recognizing Francis as the dad who showed up, even if he did it drunk and yelling.
You know, there's something you should always remember, Peter. Francis may not have been your father, but he raised you as if you were his own.
Still, no reason to waste the trip. Everyone at the pub, including Peter, Mickey and Brian, celebrates with a rousing rendition of Drunken Irish Dad, complete with slurred lyrics and beer-fueled bonding. Moving on to when Peter's world literally starts running backwards thanks to a time machine mishap. Brian's attempts to impress women take a wild turn when he lies about having a time machine, because apparently that's the key to a successful date.
Wait! I have a time machine.
You do?
Yeah, you want to see it?
He brings a girl back to his place and sneaks her into Stewie's room to travel through time, starting with the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. From there, things escalate. Brian uses the time machine to show up at historical disasters like the Hindenburg and even the bad old days of segregation-era America. Nothing like a little time hopping for a quick lay, right? But then, one of Brian's dates notices the years traveled gauge on the time machine.
Won't you see that thing on the control panel that says years traveled?
What thing?
Panicked that Stewie might catch on, Brian does what any reasonable dog would do. He messes with the gauge, sending it backwards. This, of course, results in the time machine having a massive meltdown, complete with a blinding blue light.
Look, it's no big deal. Just reverse it and take off the miles. That's what I do when I take my dad's car out.
Stewie wakes up, and Brian, ever the master of excuses, blames Meg for the disaster.
I don't know, man. I saw Meg leaving a minute ago going, mwahahaha, but I don't know.
But before anyone can process the madness, a huge energy blast slams Stewie and Brian into a wall, knocking them out cold. The next day, Brian and Stewie wake up to a world that's now running in reverse thanks to Brian's meddling. Time is literally going backwards. Peter's fight with Ernie the giant chicken? That's happening in reverse. Cleveland's back in Quahog. Even Stewie's teeth are disappearing because, sure, that makes sense.
I'm unteething! Brian, it appears the flow of reverse time is beginning to affect us as well.
As things get progressively weirder, Stewie realizes that if they don't fix the time machine, he's about to be unborn. Yeah, you read that right. Unborn. It's about to get even more absurd.
I too shall be unborn.
When Stewie starts losing basic bodily functions, like, walking, he figures out that his birth is drawing nearer. This means he's going to be unborn, which is not something you hear every day. So while Stewie's rushed to the hospital to face his undoing, Brian tries to fix the time machine by himself. In a desperate bid to correct his mistake, Brian cranks the time gauge forward. Surprise! That leads to another massive meltdown and another knockout for our beloved Mutt. But hey, the machine's still in one piece. Brian finally wakes up to find that, somehow, the timeline has righted itself. Everything's back to normal. He rushes to the hospital, just in time to witness Stewie's birth, which, by the way, is totally Brian's fault.
Bloody hell! It's a boy!
Yeah!
Oh, thank God!
He's so beautiful.
Oh, and Stewie's name? Brian's accidental decision, because who else would name Stewie but the dog who caused all the chaos? Stewie's born, he's safe, and the Griffins head home with their now infamous baby. Of course, in classic Family Guy fashion, Chris chimes in, claiming he heard Stewie talk, something Lois immediately dismisses because, sure, that makes total sense in this universe.
You did it, Brian. I've got to say, I didn't think you were going to be able to pull it off, but you did it. You saved my life.
And if Peter wasn't confused enough already, wait until a medical experiment rewires his entire identity. Peter heads out to buy groceries, but as per usual, he gets sidetracked, this time by a brain-damaged horse.
Then buy one can of beans and come straight home. Do you understand?
Lois, I'm a guy you can trust with a task. Buy a horse!
You bought a horse? Why the hell?
He buys it, much to the horror of everyone around him, and then enters the poor creature into a race.
Ew! 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 What is it? Brian! Boy, I never been in the owner's box. We are gonna get a great view of the track from up here. This is gonna be a great race.
The result? A rampaging horse that causes $100,000 worth of damage. The horse eventually dies from a heart attack, and Peter, in true Peter Griffin fashion, disposes of the body by flinging it into Mort Goldman's pharmacy. As a result, the Griffins are now drowning in debt.
$100,000 worth of damage. All thanks to that stupid horse of yours.
Look, can we not talk about the horse, please? It's gone.
To cover the damages, Peter volunteers for a series of medical drug tests. In one test, he's injected with an experimental gene that makes him gay.
We're just going to give you a series of experimental injections and record the results.
What's this one?
We call this the squirrel gene.
I don't want to take a chance on being gay.
We'll give you $125.
All right, I'll do it. Hey.
So how'd the medical experiments go?
So good, Lois. So good.
Lois is understandably upset at first, but then she softens when Peter starts engaging in stereotypical gay behaviors, like shopping for clothes and baking muffins.
That absolutely fabulous piece on Fiji in yesterday's travel section. Oh, I wish I was Beyonce. My muffins are ready.
You made muffins?
Well, it wasn't the Muffin Fairy.
However, Lois's newfound acceptance comes crashing down when Peter rejects her sexual advances, and to make things more complicated, Peter's new sexual orientation might be permanent.
Lois, I'm gay.
Wait a minute, you mean we can't have sex?
No.
Lois tries to cope with the changes, but when Peter leaves her for a man named Scott, she's heartbroken. Stewie, who might be gay, and Brian, who's hesitant due to his strong support for gay rights, hatch a plan to bring Peter back to his normal self by kidnapping him and sending him to a straight camp for conversion therapy.
By the time you get out of here, you're going to be back to your old self again.
Welcome to Straight Camp, everyone.
When Scott comes over to look for Peter, Brian admits what they did.
You what?
Oh, you bad!
Ryan, why did you do that?
Lois, after a bit of reflection, decides to accept Peter as he is and tells him to go back to Scott.
Have an 11-way?
Oh my God, yes I do, and you so did not even.
Oh, but I did.
But just when everything seems to settle, the effects of the gene wear off, right in the middle of an orgy with Peter and 9 other men. Awkward, right? Peter eventually returns to his family, and they agree to pretend this entire ordeal never happened.
Never gonna talk about this again?
That's right, sweetie.
Well, I'm just happy to have your father home again.
The episode wraps up with Mort, in an act of revenge, throwing the dead horse's body through the Griffin's living room window. Because, why not? Speaking of Peter's disasters, let's sail into the time he got shipwrecked and returned to find his wife married to the family pet. Peter struggles to catch enough fish to feed his family, leading him to fire his 2 Portuguese employees, Santos and Pascal.
Hey, boys, let's see what we got. Well, at least we got something. Ah! Sorry, guys, but the way things have been going, I can't afford to keep you. I'm gonna have to put you down.
Desperate to make more money, Peter heads to Pelican's Reef with Glenn Quagmire, Joe Swanson, and Cleveland Brown, tagging along, mostly for the free beer. They find the fish but are caught in a hurricane that sinks their boat. Luckily, they survive by building a raft out of Quagmire's sex dolls, but without food, Peter ends up eating Joe's unused legs.
Wow, this must be Pelican's Reef.
Holy crap, we're rich!
The tiniest prick will pop these things. Giggity.
Believed to be dead, a memorial service is held for the 4 men. In their absence, Brian marries Lois to support the family, though their relationship is strained, with Lois and Brian sleeping in separate beds. Eventually, several months later, the 4 men are rescued by a passing cruise ship, and Joe gets a new set of legs from a death row inmate, who, ironically, was also paraplegic. Peter finally returns home, only to find that Lois has married Brian. She explains her reasoning, and Peter, heartbroken, moves into a hotel.
Dad!
What's your name again? I want to say Alan.
Oh, it's so good to see you guys.
Peter!
What?
Well, it was a very difficult time, and he was there for us.
What the hell? Who was there for you?
Honey, I'm home. Peter, you're alive.
Brian?
Determined to win Lois back, Peter makes a bold move by visiting her house naked and lying on the couch. Lois eventually gives in, and the two end up having sex on a tipped-over chair, which Stewie records.
Hello, Lois.
Peter, what are you doing here, and where are your clothes?
Oh, did I forget my clothes?
I missed you so much.
Later, Lois runs out of the house with a saddle, making Brian suspicious of infidelity. Stewie shows him the video and Brian is devastated. Brian confronts Peter at the hotel, only to find a silhouette of Peter and Lois having sex. Lois, upon confronted, admits that she had made a commitment to Brian and must stay with him.
Peter, I can't keep sneaking around with you like this. It's not fair to Brian.
Well, what about me, Lois?
I made a commitment to Brian. I can never repay him for what he's done for this family.
Brian divorces Lois and she returns to Peter.
Peter will still take you back. I'm sorry, Lois.
I understand.
The next day, everything seems normal until Lois reveals that she was just one day away from sleeping with Brian. This revelation leaves Brian shocked, and he responds by retreating to the basement, snapping, "What do you think?"
I was like a day away from having sex with you. I was gonna push those beds together and take you around the...
Doing what?
What do you think?
Next, we have the episode where Peter makes a spectacle of himself on new stairs while struggling with basic gravity. After Opie gets fired from the brewery for excessive on-the-job masturbation, Peter gets a new co-worker, Stella, a very attractive deaf woman.
You got fired? Why? Oh, well, it's no wonder.
Nice to meet you.
Well, what is this? We doing a new secret handshake now?
No, Griffin, she's deaf.
Quagmire, smitten by her, arranges a disabled ladies' night at the Clam to impress her. While there, Brian meets Kate, an attractive blonde woman at the bar, and they hit it off. However, Brian quickly learns that Kate is blind and dislikes dogs.
No, go ahead.
Thanks. Hey, would you like to go out sometime?
Wow, that was fast. Ugh, our stupid neighbor's dog barks 24/7. God, I hate dogs.
You do?
He decides to lie about being a very hairy human to win her over, turning down sexual advances and pretending to be someone he's not. Brian goes as far as staging a fake symphony orchestra outing in the Griffin's garage to further deceive her.
I haven't done anything yet, so I'm just gonna avoid touching her until a little more time has passed. Yup, just a few more steps. There we are. Ah, the winds of Paris.
When Kate's parents invite them to dinner, Brian recruits Stewie to help with another lie. He wraps himself in bandages and has Stewie pose as his burn treatment nurse.
He's had a little accident, I'm afraid.
Oh my God, Brian, are you okay?
Oh, don't worry, I'm fine. I'm just sort of bandaged up right now.
Well, it's lovely to meet you too.
So what happened?
To maintain the ruse, Stewie even cuts off Brian's wagging tail and cauterizes it with a candle.
What's that thumping noise?
It's your tail. Stop wagging your tail. I can't help it. Do something.
Eventually, Brian admits the truth to Kate, who is initially willing to overlook his dog issue, but breaks up with him because of his lies.
I'm a dog!
I'm so sorry I didn't tell you before. Can you ever forgive me? Do you think that you can still be with me?
On Stewie's advice, Brian changes his voice and continues his relationship with Kate under the new persona.
Well, since Kate is blind, you could probably just do a different voice and go out with her all over again.
Hey, are you Kate?
Yes?
Hey, it's Noah from J-Date.
Oh my God, hi!
Meanwhile, Stewie gets a splinter from the decaying stairs in the Griffin house, prompting Lois to replace them. However, the new stairs are too slippery for Peter, and every time he tries to go upstairs, he falls down, shouting profanities. Peter decides to live upstairs permanently, so Lois reluctantly agrees to reinstall the old stairs, much to Peter's relief.
What were all those carpenters doing here today?
Putting back our old crappy stairs, Meg. I didn't have a choice.
Yay! I love my old stairs!
Moving on to when Peter's forklift promotion pierces more than just his professional reputation. Peter gets promoted to forklift operator at the Pawtucket Brewery after Frank retires, and he quickly becomes the master of the job.
I actually came to tell you that you're being promoted to forklift operator.
Really? That's awesome!
Yep, Frank retired.
He has fun with the forklift, using it to make it look like Joe is walking, though Joe loses his pants in the process.
All right, walking speed. Afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon to you, normal sir.
Peter also lifts a baby lion in a parody of The Lion King and saves a beached sperm whale, but in his carelessness, he impales the whale with the forklift, causing it to fall apart. After drinking an entire vat of beer, Peter drives the forklift through a wall and into a meeting, leading Angela to fire him.
So, as you can see, sales are going very well.
Lois, frustrated by Peter not having a job, decides to get a job herself at Stop and Shop.
Hey guys, great news. You're looking at the new assistant store manager of Stop and Shop.
You got a job at the grocery store?
Peter is left in charge of the household, and things go awry as he attempts to do household chores, including washing clothes in the dishwasher, changing Stewie's intense diapers, and making a disastrous dinner that involves cooking Chris, putting Stewie in the freezer, and microwaving Meg's head.
Why are you doing laundry in the dishwasher?
Oh, I can't use the washing machine. It's really been acting up lately. Which unfortunately means I have to touch your privates. All right, so here I come with the cloth. Okay, this is not sexual.
When Lois comes home and tries to be intimate, Peter discovers he can't perform, leading to humiliation from his family.
I'm tired.
Come on, Peter. I need this release. I had a long day at work.
Oh, work.
Peter, are you having trouble getting ready?
Yes, obviously I'm having trouble.
Peter visits Dr. Hartman, who prescribes him Viagra and Cialis.
Well, you got a dead rat in your pants, mister.
There's gotta be something you can do, Dr. Hartman.
Have you tried getting a divorce?
But they don't work. At the Drunken Clam, Peter confides in Joe and Quagmire, and they tried to help him with various methods, including the Boston method and operating Peter's penis manually, but all efforts fail. Quagmire concludes that Peter needs his job back, as he didn't have this problem before he was fired.
Lois, I'm ready.
Peter! We gotta get you your old job back.
It was a mistake for me to ever take that promotion.
Wait a minute. It was a mistake giving you a promotion.
Quagmire approaches Angela and begs her to rehire Peter, claiming she promoted an incompetent man to the forklift position. Angela initially refuses, but is surprised to learn that Peter's firing also causes impotence.
Since this man lost his job, he can't pleasure his wife.
Is that true?
I have what the kids call mage ween probs.
Peter proposes redeeming a redo coupon and a hug coupon, which leads to Peter being rehired. Angela gives him a free hug despite the hug coupon being expired, and fires the studio audience she had hired to replace Peter. Back at Stop and Shop, Peter proudly tells Lois he got his job back and that his sex drive is back. They proceed to have sex on a pile of pita breads in the store, much to the shock of a passerby who comments, "This is a cool place," as he walks away.
Because I got my old job back.
Peter, I'm so proud of you. Oh my. Let's go home.
No, I am gonna do you right here on a stack of pita bread.
Speaking of head injuries, let's visit the game show where Peter loses more than just the grand prize. The episode begins with the Griffins watching television when a commercial for Family Feud audition airs. The family decides to try out, and they're selected to appear on the show.
So we're picking you because you have 3 sons.
But I'm not.
Shut up, Greg.
They make it to the final round, but during a fight with the host, Richard Dawson, over the prize money, Dawson shoves Peter into the podium, causing him to hit his head.
Get your hands off me. I served in the fictitious military.
This injury results in Peter losing his memory, forgetting everything about his life, including his family and friends.
Who are you?
I'm Lois.
Lois who? Who the hell am I?
Uh-oh.
Lois tries to help Peter remember his past by introducing him to his old life, including his children and their sexual history.
Oh boy, no fooling? Oh boy! Wait a minute. Something's happening to my pants.
However, Peter interprets this as an opportunity to embrace a bachelor lifestyle, leading him to think he's free to have relationships with other women.
Peter, what's the matter with you? You can't just have sex with some random woman.
Why the hell not?
Because we're married.
This causes a rift between him and Lois, who moves out to a low-budget apartment, taking the kids with her.
This is disgusting. I shouldn't be here. A baby doesn't belong in the inner city any more than a baby belongs on a plane.
Quagmire, seeing this as an opportunity, tries to pursue a relationship with Lois.
That was a delicious dinner, Glenn. I didn't know you could cook.
Meanwhile, Brian warns Peter about the consequences of his actions.
All right, Peter, now I know your head is still a blank slate, but you gotta listen to me when I say... Wait, did you just call me Brian?
Peter reveals that he regained his memory after an incident with Ernie the Giant Chicken, who hit him on the head with an odd number of objects. Realizing his mistake, Peter rushes to Lois to apologize just as Quagmire's attempts to win Lois's affections are derailed by his impotence. Lois admits that she trusts Quagmire, causing Peter to profess his love for her and declare that he wants to spend the rest of his life with her.
What are you doing here?
I got my memory back, and I love you, Lois. I want you and the kids back. I want our old life back.
Lois forgives Peter, and they reunite, leaving Quagmire frustrated and still struggling to revive his sexual prowess with increasingly drastic methods, such as a penis pump, intravenous therapy, and even a crash cart with a defibrillator in his closet.
I lost my mind.
Claire! Damn it!
Oh my god, Peter, I don't care!
And finally, focusing on when Peter's new contacts catches Boss's eye in all the wrong ways. The episode starts with the Griffin family attending a play at Little Clan Preschool, where Stewie is supposed to play the role of the Plug.
I am so excited for Stewie's first play.
Don't you think it's a little soon for a musical about Terry Schiavo?
Or too late?
However, Stewie succumbs to stage fright and has an accident on stage. Peter records the embarrassing moment and when panning the camera down the row, notices actor Richard Dreyfuss sitting nearby.
Look at Stewie. What a baby.
Peter starts pestering Dreyfuss with personal questions and decides to sell the footage to TMZ, which kicks off his new obsession with being a paparazzo.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Hey, Dreyfuss, where you going? Get back here. Dreyfuss, what are you doing here in Quahog?
My nephew's in the play. God, can't you go anywhere these days?
Peter buys a professional video camera and starts recording local celebrities like Tom Tucker, Mayor Adam West, and Ollie Williams, who ends up smashing Peter's camera and glasses.
Bernie Mac, how come you died? Oprah, why are you so fat, Don Cheadle?
Unable to fix his glasses in time for work, Peter switches to wearing contacts. At work, his boss Angela notices his new look and becomes sexually attracted to him.
Griffin, did you call the distributor about the...
What? What's the problem? Hey, but I'll stay late.
No, that's not it, Griffin. There's something different about you. You're not wearing glasses.
And I got busted. I'm wearing contacts.
I can see your eyes and your eyelashes.
She starts hitting on Peter and asking him to do odd sexual favors for her. Eventually, Angela invites Peter to her house, hoping to sleep with him.
Oh, I dropped my pencil.
Oh, I'll get it for you.
Yeah, this is gonna work out just fine. Excuse me.
Peter, fearing he'll be fired if he refuses, enlists Quagmire to hide inside his clothes to impersonate him and have sex with Angela.
Come over to her house tonight to work on a special project. I know she's gonna make me have sex with her. What the hell am I gonna do?
However, Quagmire finds Angela unattractive and backs out, forcing Peter to refuse Angela's advances himself, which leads to him getting fired from his job.
I don't want to get in that. Peter, I'm not gonna do it. Deal's off. Deal's off. I would have had sex with you, but Peter neglected to tell me that you are a complete dumpster fire. Some friend, huh?
Peter drinks his sorrows away and watches an old film with Robert Mitchum in which Mitchum slaps a woman and breaks the fourth wall, encouraging Peter to stand up for himself.
Not hiding it in a pillow or holding it in until your stomach goes...
Inspired, Peter decides to take action against Angela. He drives to her house and finds her attempting suicide in her garage. Peter saves her, and Angela confesses that she's been unhappy due to the lack of a romantic life for over a decade. Peter decides to help her by arranging a date with another man, adopting the persona of Reginald Knickerbocker.
Someday a white man's gonna be elected president again.
Griffin, I haven't been with anyone in 10 years.
But now all I want to do is help you out. I'll tell you what. You know that ritzy upscale place over on 3rd?
They have dinner, and Angela tries to seduce him while threatening suicide if he refuses. Peter reluctantly agrees to keep her from harming herself, reigniting her will to live.
Wonderful dinner!
Would you like some dessert?
Did you bake a pie?
Well, there is a pie.
Angela sees through Peter's disguise and rehires him, but Peter reveals to Quagmire and Joe at the Drunken Clam that he secretly hired Mort Goldman to sleep with Angela. It turns out that Mort is still hiding inside Peter's clothes.
Fantastic! It was exactly what I needed.
Well, hopefully there'll be no more talk of suicide.
Yeah, you cheated on your wife.
No, I didn't. I used Mort. Oh my god, I forgot about Mort.
Which one do you think was the worst thing that happened to Peter Griffin? Let me know in the comments down below. Remember to like and subscribe. Bye for now, and I'll see you in the next one.